Randy Whitten, and I'm here with Brazosport High School's Associate Athletic Director, Mr. Ben Rudolph, and Brazoswood's High School Band Director, Mr. Brian Casey. We're here for the final interview in our series about the proposed 2014 BISD bond that will be on the ballot this November 4th. Hello, gentlemen.
Hi, Randy.
As both of you know, we began our series of bond interviews for the past month answering questions that folks have been asking about the 2014 bond referendum that will be on the November 4th ballot in the BISD voting area. We have had a lot of questions about existing facilities, the construction of new ones, and the impact on our students and teachers in the classroom. We've talked about how the 2014 proposed bond will not increase the tax rate due to the multiple billion-dollar projects that our area business and industry partners will be building in the next several years. Now I'd like to change the conversation a bit and talk about how the proposed 2014 bond will impact two of the largest programs that we have in BISD, fine arts and athletics. I'd like to start off with Mr. Casey and a few questions about the possible impact the 2014 bond would have on the BISD fine arts. Brian, will this bond buy new uniforms, instruments, supplies, anything for the arts?
Well, no, actually, Randy, $175,000 was set aside in the 2012 bond for the replacement of Brazosport and Brazoswood marching band uniforms. And I'm very happy to say that both bands have them and they look great. Now, as far as instrument replacements, $2 million was designated in the 2012 bond, and we are certainly in the process of replacing pieces that have been in our schools. Some are 20, 30, 40 years old and in need of replacement. Also included are orchestra instruments and elementary pianos. On behalf of all the music programs in BISD, I would like to thank the community for their support as lots of students are benefiting from these purchases for years to come.
Well, does that mean that there's nothing in the bond for fine arts?
No, there are actually a couple of big projects that will impact our schools and our community. If the 2014 bond is passed by voters, Brazoswood Auditorium will receive upgrades and improvements to the stage lighting, the sound system, microphones, curtains, and the basics, modern electricity. You see, the auditorium's infrastructure is exactly what was installed when the school opened in 1969, 45 years ago. The next fine arts project slated in the 2014 bond is new lighting and sound system at Brazosport High School's Black Box Theater. That facility was not part of the construction in the 2002 bond. It was the old band hall that got a few updates, and stage lighting and a sound system were not part of the bond. Both of these performance facilities are used daily by the various performing arts groups on our campuses and used by our feeder pattern schools.
Such as the elementary schools, the middle schools, and the intermediate schools.
Exactly, for their concerts and performances and programs, but they're also used by our community for recitals, concerts, performances, much like Hopper and Sladefield are used by our community groups.
Oh, that's good information. Thank you, Brian. And that's a good segue into Coach Ben Rudolph, Associate Athletic Director for Brazosport High School. Ben, let's talk about the 2014 proposed bond. What's in the bond for athletics?
Well, first off, I want to say thanks to Brian Casey. Our facilities in BISD are used for many, many programs, not just athletic facilities, but also our fine arts facilities as well, too.
You bet. There's hardly a night that goes by that you don't see someone using our fields or our gyms.
Well, and if this 2014 bond is passed, Clute and Lake Jackson Intermediate Schools will have their old gyms, which were built in 1979, renovated, and Freeport Intermediate's gyms will get new floors. All those are much needed projects, but probably the biggest need is Lanier Middle School has a gym that has been condemned, and our kids and our staff can't even use that facility anymore, so they're having to hold their physical education classes either inside the cafeteria or outside when the weather is acceptable.
I agree. So that's about it for athletics?
No, if the 2014 bond is passed, there are other projects that will impact many of our other athletic programs and PE students throughout the district. We'll add gymnasiums at Austin, Polk, Griffith elementary schools.
To finally take care of the cafe gymatoriums, right? Rita Cundiff told us about that in a previous interview.
That's right. If the 2014 bond, if approved by voters, will also allow us to replace the stadium turf.
We've had a lot of questions come up about that, Ben, and you might want to explain to the folks out there, why use turf instead of grass?
Well, artificial turf has a life expectancy of about 8 to 10 years, and we're well past that life expectancy at the stadium field on the turf when it was installed. It's a cost-saving measure on a school district to have an artificial field because it doesn't require any water. You don't have to fertilize it, you don't have to line it, you don't have to mow it, so it saves money and it quickly pays for itself. It's used by not only just our football programs, but soccer, track, and even our marching bands use it.
It's good information. I want to thank Mr. Ben Rudolph and Brian Casey for joining me here today for our final interview in our series about the proposed 2014 bond that will be on the ballot this November 4th. Folks, if you need more information or if you have any more questions, please go to our website at www.brazosportisd.net. Click on Bond Info on the left side of the screen and get all the information of where the money is allocated to go and what it's going to be used for in the coming years. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today for our final interview in our series about the proposed 2014 bond. And remember to vote on November the 4th.